Well, Tuesday's here.
Mm-mm-mm.
It's the week after you just got into a bar fight where you told your girl you had the skills of Tom Aspinall, and it turns out you can't throw a punch.
Cat,
You
come on.
just got absolutely demolished. You want to know where good news comes in, guys? We have each other. We have this show. We've had a great time this season, and that's going to continue, and we're going to continue with Roll Tide Roll. And, we always give you such great information, and I always like starting the show off, gentlemen, with a little bit of helpful advice. And sometimes when you take a loss like this, you almost get depressed. And when you get depressed, things may not go right for you. Things may not quite work for you. Gentlemen, men out there, once you're depressed, they might not quite work for you. But luckily for you, we've got a sponsor for you. So if you can't get hard, Lambstone's got you because they're always hard. Daniel, tell them about Lambstone.
Going as hard as your freaking segue is Lambstone Company at realrockstone.com. Have you ever dreamed of having beautiful natural stone around your home?
Every night.
Don't settle for subpar materials. Check out Lambstone Company's selection of natural stone products to meet all your project needs. Lambstone is located in beautiful Aniana, Alabama, and is one of the oldest, most trusted sources in the state. So contact them today and tell them we sent you by using the promo code the Bama Standard to receive 10% off your purchase. Go give some love to the Lambstone Company at realrockstone.com today. Can't go harder than Ty's segue.
Listen, and no, that won't help with the depression-induced anxiety after Saturday night, but you'll have a nice rock, and that's something. That's something. Guys, we need to, we're not going to spend a bunch of time on it. Everybody's already talked about it, but we have not as a group gotten to sit down and talk about what went wrong for Alabama on Saturday in Norman against a proud Oklahoma team. And we did talk last week that this was an Oklahoma team that was going to swing for the fences. Unfortunately, and I do need to say this, I want every Alabama fan to be praying for the Venables family as Brent Venables' wife is experiencing troubles with cancer. And he's a great man. Yeah, it's a great family. And you just keep them in your prayers, if you will. That's very tough. But the team, they played for Brent. They played for each other. And unfortunately, as we're diving into what went wrong, it'd be a shorter conversation if we talked about what went right.
Let's say what didn't.
But it would be a tougher conversation because, quite frankly, I don't know. Guys, I usually pass it off. I want to start this off. I'm going to start it off on the defensive side. You've got a team in Oklahoma that has struggled throwing the ball. They fired their offensive coordinator, which hindsight being 2020 was one of the best things they did. I'm actually very familiar with Seth Luttrell, their former offensive coordinator, because I went to UNT. He was at UNT. I walked out of UNT games on multiple occasions because it was the worst football I'd seen. And so whenever they hired him, I told my OU buddies, like, hey, I hope it works, but I don't have a lot of faith. Well, they get rid of him. You have a quarterback in Jackson Arnold who's very talented, much more athletic than people think. In fact, at Denton Guyer, they clocked him at 22.1 miles per hour at 6'2", 220 pounds. Dude's an athlete. Dude is an absolute athlete. If you're Kane Womack, you would think that the reasonable thing to do would be to crowd the line of scrimmage and say, beat me over the top. You've got a secondary who may be young, but guys, Mo Linguist has done a phenomenal job with this secondary. From where they started to you had a bunch of true freshmen. You had Damani Jackson, who hadn't played a full football season since his sophomore year of high school. And now this secondary is genuinely a really solid secondary. Make them beat you over top. And if OU gets 14 points out the gate, cool. I'm going to keep rolling it because you're not going to run on me. You're going to have to prove to me you can beat me over the top. Instead, you roll out a three-man front. And there were times where the nose tackle was head up on the center, and then your Wolf and Bandit were outside the tackles. All OU tackles had to do to take care of the two outside guys for Bama is turn them. Their guards got up to the linebacker, and there goes Xavier Robinson or Jackson Arnold for 10 yards. Why? Because you gave them 10 yards. That defensive game plan would make more sense against LSU, a team that wants to throw the football, than it made against Oklahoma. That was awful. And it's the same defensive front we saw against Vandy. And guess what happened there? The exact same thing. That was inexcusable. And it even made it worse whenever your signal caller on defense goes down and now you're scrambling. But we can't have an injury excuse against Oklahoma. Have y'all ever seen those CVS receipts? I mean, that's what's responsible for the deforestation of the rainforest is CVS and those damn receipts. They've got a full CVS receipt worth of injuries in Oklahoma. Their top 2 Ds, their top 5 in this game, top 6 wide receivers, multiple offensive linemen. You can't have an injury excuse against this team. Not at all. Offensively, guys, why in the hell is this a game where you're trying to force Jalen Milroe to run the football? I understand that's what the offense does best. The game plan against Tennessee, where he threw the ball that many times, would have made more sense. Oklahoma is one of the best run defenses in the nation. I think they're top 10 in terms of efficiency, but their secondary is like 54th. Not bad, but if you're going to attack them vertically. This game plan made no sense. The running back should have had more touches, and if you are calling RPOs and Milroe is keeping it, then don't call an RPO. Just call a dedicated run and let them do it. Sheridan sat on his hands. Kane Womack sat on his hands until it was too late. And don't get me wrong. Did Milroe have a good game? No, that was awful. That was bad. Y'all know I love Jalen Milroe. The offensive line was terrible. The tight ends missed several blocks. Wide receivers straight up let a guy intercept a pass because they didn't catch a block. You had 3 versus 1 on that side. And a 5'9" cornerback who's very talented beat 3. It was bad all around, and I cede my time. Daniel, what are you thinking?
Man, that sums up a lot of it. There was not much really went right. You didn't score a touchdown. You didn't even get in the damn end zone. The offensive line play was bad. Milroe looks rattled in those moments that they shut down the run. You had receivers are dropping passes. Then he's staring down receivers and throwing it to guys that are sitting on routes in the flat that you just can't miss that guy. That guy, I mean, that's in the defense. The secondary has got better, but I mean, they didn't get tested because Oklahoma committed to the run because again they were down 5 receivers and you can't adjust to that. Yeah, why are you running a 3-man front? Holy hell, load the box. I mean, but again, you're not scoring, so I don't. It was just a shit show of epic proportion. And then when you do finally go long and get Ryan Williams involved, the refs pull one of the shittiest calls in college football history. And I mean, look, refs didn't cost the game, anything like that. There was 3 big plays that that really made the game. The pick that he was sitting on, but that play does swing it because that puts Bama within a score. You're down 2 scores with 10 to go, and now you got a little bit of momentum. But I don't know, man. Nothing went right. It just, and it's shocking because you had everything to play for. This was the playoffs. It effectively started as a 2-loss team. You're in the playoffs at this point. So there's nothing, this isn't a trap game that you're overlooking, or to Auburn or to whatever. So I don't know, man. And it's like you said, the game plan made no sense offensively. You come out some sets and you pass, quarterback draw. Like you said, if your problem is Jalen's not handing it off on the RPO, we'll call it damn dedicated run to Jam Miller. It looks like every game he gets going and then just fucking disappears. He'll break off 6-7 yard runs. You're like, all right, here's the game we're going to see Jam, and then there's no more Jam.
9-yard runs.
Yeah, 9-yard runs, and it's like shit. This is finally the Jam show, and then by the second, third quarter, he's back on the fucking milk carton. So I don't know. Sorry. It doesn't make sense. I'm sorry. I'm pretty verbal. Saturday sucked complete ass all the way around. But the thing is, you've got a lot to play for this week. You better wake your ass up, because with even as shitty as that was, look at the chaos that happened on Saturday, and you're still right on the outside of the periphery of this thing. Go win and see what the hell happens.
100%. And everybody out there. Oh, go ahead, President.
Hey, Patty, I got to ask a question talking about having dedicated runs. My question is, whose decision is it to pull it from the belly of the running back? Is it Milroe's or Sheridan's at this point? Because a lot of the times on those calls, Jam may get – I probably can count on one hand how many times Jam's getting it. And I probably could count on 2 or 3 fingers how many times that Justice has gotten it. And according to Tyler Siskey, it's those plays, they're not a majority of them are set to give. So who's making that decision?
Well, no, I agree with you. Justin, that's why I say if you have a quarterback who's making the wrong read, who's not making the correct read, then just call a dedicated run. And if that goes wrong, it's going to be very obvious, because you're probably going to fumble in the field, because the running backs could try and take the ball from Mill. You get what I mean? So, like, that's 100% correct. And what would be even more 100% correct is if all of you good folks on Twitter come on over to the YouTube channel. That way you can participate in this live chat, get your questions in, subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you a part of this family. You're right, Justin. You're 100% right. But I think that's why Dan and I are just like, okay, if it's a theme, let's just not do the RPO as much anymore.
Absolutely. And another thing I've kind of noticed a trend, and Damian Harris, God bless him, said this of your Ole Miss Rebels. Alabama's a play ahead team too. If you guys notice that, if everything is going right, they're clicking on all cylinders. You said the best ball in college football in that crimson and white uniform. But if they start to face any hint of adversity, they start to check out. They are in the wrong places. They're running into each other. They forget how to football. That's what I see. It's and it's still from Tyler Siskey. Patty, you heard this last night, and it's quite funny. And I owe him 25 cents for this. But in times of adversity, the cream rises to the top. Well, so do turds. And it seems with Alabama, when adversity comes, we see more turds than cream. That's just my take. But I take too much of your time, guys. Carry on.
Oh,
Dynamite drop in, Monty.
Yeah, love it, man. Love it. Lou, talk to me, man. What went wrong?
What went wrong Saturday night? Well, for starters, I don't think anybody in the locker room had a ball sack. It was abysmal. It was embarrassing. Nobody looked like they gave a shit or remembered how to actually play the game of football. And that starts with our coaches. On defense, he talks about in his press conference that he made in-game adjustments. Where? When? Because I'm pretty sure that 3-man front was out there most, if not all, the night. And as we've said, they didn't have a wide receiver. They were down to their freaking water boy. So if I'm getting paid $1 million plus a year, and we all see that, why are these things that the coaches aren't doing and making changes on? Because we've seen it happen before. If Alabama's getting their ass kicked, we've had the coaches that can make adjustments. I don't think either of these coordinators knows the definition of the word adjustments. I don't think these coaches know how to inspire their players. I think both of these guys have exhibited this lazy, non-caring demeanor that has seeped in to our players because it reflects in how they play. So the attitude of the coaches is feeding into the negativity of some of these cancers we've got on this team. So what went wrong with Alabama? We don't have enough time in the hour to go into detail what all went wrong on this team. But I can tell you this, we're going to damn well try tonight.
Love it, man. Love it. Well, I think before we get into a much-needed segment, I do want to give a shout-out to Boobie Miles, one of
That's
the
a
greatest
Permian for
running
life.
backs that's ever lived. And he can throw the ball. He says you can tell when 4 keeps it on the RPO, the running back hole is wide open. Yeah.
Wide open.
Far
I
too many
just had
times.
to add that. I felt like that's how he said that last one. If you do it that second time.
No, I think you did it more justice than I could have. So I greatly appreciate that. But guys, this hurts. This hurts a lot. There's a lot of blame to go around. But we all need a good vacation. And what better place to go vacation than to go on an island? Kick back, get you a cigar or two. I got a lot. And relax and listen to the one and only Kat Cadell tell us.
Welcome to On an Island, guys. And I'm going to piggyback basically on what my amazing adventures went with the previous topic. I have said the same thing for like the past 5 weeks. Run the freaking ball. So I got a whole CBS list of who I'm going at tonight for On an Island. First and foremost, Nick Sheridan. Obviously, you have no clue what you're doing. For you to continue to call RPOs, you don't know your quarterback strengths or flaws. Let's start right there, okay? Milroe, every player has flaws. There's no perfect. Even Tom Brady's had flaws. Mahomes got flaws. Josh Allen, Cam Ward, whoever, they all got flaws. But what good offensive coordinators do, they cover up those flaws by doing what the offensive player does really well, all right? Now, for starters, Milroe, I'll give him I think he throws a good deep ball, you know. I think he's more of a vertical type threat. I think he has really good legs, all right? I think you have to kind of pick and choose where you want to throw the ball for him, all right? Now, his flaws. Number one, I do not think he's a good RPO quarterback. So stop calling RPOs, Nick Sheridan. Take them out of the playbook. It does no good. All right. Secondly, stop running shotgun. You are limiting our offense. All right. If you take those 2 things out, if you stop running RPOs, because I don't think Milroe can read an RPO, in my opinion, unless it's a design quarterback run. So you have to be able to, if you're still calling it, to me, that's telling me you don't understand what your player does really well. And that to me is just so frustrating from a player that's come from somebody who's went under Shula, then go to Coach Saban, who Coach Saban is so meticulous and detailed, knowing on what his players' strengths and flaws are, that he formulates his game plans on what his players can do really well and execute those. I don't understand how you are offensive coordinator and you're still calling RPOs when it has not worked for us. The key word in RPO is pass. I don't even think we passed the ball out of the RPO. So you taking that out, it's just an RO. And 9 times out of 10, the quarterback cannot read the actual RO, and he's keeping it. He's not even looking. So you got to stop running the RPO. Take that out of your playbook. We are not a good RPO offense. Okay. I said take out shotgun. Like Petty, Ty mentioned, run more design runs. I have said multiple times, and guys, you can back me up. Watch the last 5 Final Wilson episodes. Run pistol heavy, or I formation. The reason I say that, it gives the defense different looks because they know we game plan ourselves. We run the same freaking offensive plays every time. Tell me if you know this Alabama offense. RPO, we get a play, quarterback run. Oh, we get some yards, tempo, quick screen to Ryan Williams. Like, our offense is so predictable. It's RPO, QB run, get the ball to Ryan Williams. Like, everybody and their mama knows that. It's like our offensive coaches don't know that teams watch film. They're going to take away they pick up on tendencies. They do all this stuff. So that is very frustrating to me. Nick Sheridan, I'm sorry. I have never been this embarrassed as a former player that you do not know what to do. Guys, Tulane played Oklahoma. They scored 19 points. Maine, the University of Maine scored 14 points. And we scored 3 points with Justice Haynes, Jam Miller, Ryan Williams, Kendrick Law, Jeremy Bernard, Caden Proctor, all those guys, and we come away with 3 points. That's just utterly embarrassing, in my opinion. So I want to stay on this topic. So I had a source tell me that one of my old teammates, he coaches at Oklahoma, and I've had some conversations this week because I was utterly upset. And he's one of the co-defensive coordinators or whatnot, and he talked to one of my teammates. And so they said that they knew Milroe had flaws, and they knew basically what to run. They said the only thing we just did was basically run what Vanderbilt did. And so to me, that's a bigger issue. And that, to me, I have to go to Kalen DeBoer. Kalen DeBoer, you're up next on the island. I'm sorry. I think you got potential, but if you're coming in from the GOAT and the GOAT has given you the recipe to be successful, why aren't you using his recipe? I say this, you need to be trying to do everything Coach Saban did, practice-wise, preparation-wise, film-wise, whatever. You need to be doing, and you need to find a way to get these guys going. Like, no more of this soft buddy type of coaching style that you do. This is the South. This is the SEC. I don't know if you know, this is not Washington. This is not Sioux Falls, Idaho, wherever you're from. This is the SEC. This is Alabama. We care about football. So, DeBoer, you need to get some juice about you. You need to get some preparation. I have never seen a team so unprepared for a football game. Every time they showed you on the sideline, you were like, you didn't know what to do. Like, you were surprised. I'm like, what did we do for the past week? Obviously, you did not put any preparation for this game versus Oklahoma. And you can tell how the players came out. They were flat. They did not execute. It was just poor preparation. And poor preparation promotes poor performance. And that's all you can say. Just say, I didn't have the guys ready. Don't try to give us these political talks. So that's another thing. Number 3 on my list, Kalen DeBoer. Your special teams coordinator has literally made me irk all season. We have Ryan Williams at punt return, who I don't think needs to be out there. But obviously these guys have not been coached. Even on the onside kick versus, I believe it was Missouri, the hands team, you had 3 tight ends out there. South Carolina. You had 3 tight ends and a fullback out there. What are you doing? You need to have all your best hands, pass catchers out there. Obviously, we don't practice special teams. Nunez has not one clue. We are running punt returns, and Ryan Williams catches the balls at the one. Have you not practiced situational punt returns, where you put your feet on the 10-yard line, and if it goes over your head, you let it go? We haven't even tried to fake the punt coverage team all year. And then if it's the punt hit Emmanuel Henderson's foot, Ryan Williams had to jump on it. There's a thing called a Peter call, where you say, get away, get away. Obviously, we have not practiced these situations. And Kalen DeBoer, this is under your watch. If you're overwhelmed, just say you're overwhelmed. But you need to be meticulous. I'm coming from Coach Saban, where Coach Saban was, yes, he was a player's coach, but he demanded excellence from his coaches. Like, he was harder on the coaches than the player. And I'm not seeing this. Obviously, you let Nick Sheridan get away with this stuff. Nunez getting away with this stuff. What you got to say? I mean, we're not making adjustments. Like Ty mentioned, we're running 3 down linemen, and it's 3rd and short. Really? Put 6 in the box. You should have called timeout and say, what are we doing, guys? Put 6 in the box. At the end of the day, it's football. So that's very frustrating. And I got to take this one to my next one. The wide receivers, Coach Shepard. I have heard from plenty of people that was at that game that when the receivers do not get the ball, they are loafing. They are not running full speed. And I'm like, what are we doing, Coach Shepard? I need you to get these guys going hard. I'm not the perfect player. I wasn't the best receiver ever to come to Alabama, but I try to give my best effort, so those are things that I think we are letting slide by, like Lushan mentioned. And DeBoer, it is coming under your watch. You need to get on your coaches, choose somebody out. Now, or if anything, ask Coach Saban what he does. Stop. Coach Saban gave you the recipe to make a championship cake. Don't come in with trying to run your own recipe and you don't even know. And the championship blueprint is right there. Like, I'm not understanding why we don't practice like Coach Saban. They show practice film. We're looking so freaking soft. It looks like the most easiest practice. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, it makes no sense. There's no intensity, no juice. And I'm like, your coaches need to be preparation in the film, because if we're not prepared Saturday, I hate to say it, one thing I know Hugh Freeze is going to do, just like Oklahoma did, they're going to run Vandy's offense and they're going to run Vandy's defense. After that Vandy game, you should have had a Vandy period in practice where we're going to try to stop the shovel pass and try to stop the triple option and do it and try to work on an offense that executes versus this Vandy defense. Because I'm going to tell you, that's all Hugh Freeze is going to do. I mean, and they're coming off a big win, so you better have your stuff together come Saturday. And that's just what we demand as Alabama fans. I can imagine us losing. I'm okay. But if we go out there and execute and played our best game and was prepared and flying around and the team maybe kicked the last-minute field goal, I can live with that. But to come out there unprepared, playing soft, not physical, no pride, no juice, looking lost, coordinators not calling the right game plan. It looked like we didn't do anything for 2 weeks after the LSU week. And so that falls on the head, man. Get your act together, because we do not play about this Alabama football. That's all I got to say.
I only have one thing to add to that, and then I want to pass it to Petty for a question. Matt, if you have a quarterback like Milroe, who's really good with the deep ball, you got wide receivers in Bernard, in Law, in Williams, who are really good at the deep ball. Wouldn't it make sense to do play action? And in order to make play action successful, don't you have to give it to the running back so that there's a threat?
That's what I'm saying. That's what my whole thing. I know I sound like a broken record to you.
No, you're right.
I have been saying change the formation. If he just gets up in I formation, then the defense does not know what to do, because they're like, dang, Milroe doesn't run this. What do we do? How do we handle it? And if we hand it, how about we just hand it to the running backs, let them get physical, and then how do we add a jet sweep to it with Kendrick Law? Then you can really get creative and add some stuff. I just don't understand why we line up in shotgun and run RPO all game. And it's either RPO, quarterback run, Ron Williams every time. That is the whole game plan. So it's just very frustrating to me. I don't know. We have 3 horses in the backfield. I'm talking about thoroughbreds: Richard Young, Justice Haynes, and Jam Miller. And we have an OC that's like, I'm not going to use these guys. It's like, what? I mean, that makes no sense to me. It makes no sense at all. I'm just frustrated. Sorry for me talking so much. Patty, Lushan, I'm going to let y'all cook. I'm putting myself on mute. I just had to get that out of my chest.
And Matt,
I wouldn't put yourself on mute for too long.
Yeah, you're you're on the hot seat now, Holmes, because you talked to a coach. Look, a lot of us, and when I say a lot of us, I've caught a lot of heat for calling out, and I've never talked bad about the kid. I've said a lot of good things about Milroe, but I've questioned his ability to make certain throws and take it to the next level. You made a comment, and I didn't really expound on it, that the coach said that they recognized deficiencies in Milroe's game. Did he tell you what those were?
Yeah, they just know he's got flaws. And I think That's nothing wrong with having flaws. And
No, not at all. You can still
supporters.
be a good football player. That's the two things can be true at once. That's
Every player is going to have flaws. Every
Yeah.
person is going to have. There is not one perfect football player. Okay.
I don't think. Did you ever see Thomas Brady?
Yeah, Brady's not the greatest.
I'm joking. That was joke.
Okay. Every player has flaws. So from a football standpoint, you got to know what Milroe does well, and you got to know what he doesn't do well. That's why I said Milroe, I think he throws a good vertical game, deep ball, those type of things. That's why I continue to harp on putting them in pistol formation, running the ball, then taking your shots whenever you need to. You get what I'm saying? That way you don't expose his flaws. I feel like a great offensive coordinator knows his players' flaws, and he tries to cover up them as much as possible. And it's so easy at Alabama because we got so many weapons. It's like you can pick your poison. I mean, I would be sitting back in the athletic booth like, this is the easiest job, and I'm getting paid millions of dollars to do this. Like, it's so simple in my book, but yet we have an OC that has no freaking clue what he's doing. And I'm like, I just want to go up there and drive up to Norman and be like, run the freaking ball. It just makes no sense to me. But yeah, Milroe has flaws. I don't think he's a great RPO quarterback, and that's fine. Nothing is wrong with that. But I feel like I don't think he can read it, in my opinion, unless I feel like that's the reason he's keeping it so much, because he can't really, and defenses know that. So it's really confusing him, and he's just keeping it every time. So if I'm Nick Sheridan, I'm not running RPOs no more. I would just run the ball with my running backs. You get what I'm saying? Like, to me, that's coming up with the solution using common sense. That way we can still be effective, and I'm not putting my quarterback in harm's way or my defense, putting them back on the field. You get what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make sense. So I want to hear Lushan's 2 cents. I feel like I have went on a rant all day. I've been holding this.
I like fired up now.
I'm sorry.
Well, is it time for us to go to the danger zone, or Lou, what are you thinking?
We can do whatever you want, Ty.
I just don't know how it fits into your analysis. But we do have El Presidente wanting to add something. Come on down. I'll roll out the red carpet.
Okay. Again, we've said this on this network. A lot of us have been advocates of Jalen Milroe and have genuinely want to see him succeed. We talk about the deficiencies. Well, let's lay them out. And this isn't taking shots on him. It's not being a hater. He can't hit drags. He can't hit the slants, dig routes, can't hit a screen. He can't change protections either, or won't change protections. But also, too, you're putting him in situations where he's having to overthink. When he's having to overthink, he starts to melt down, and then you get a disaster ball. He's not a progression quarterback. We kept saying in the off season, is this going to be the year where Milroe is comfortable going through progressions? Well, it's not. That's not his game. He needs to look at one read. If it's not there, just go. Just go. Don't try to overcomplicate things. Don't hold the ball too long. Just go. You are one of the most dangerous athletes on the field. Use that to your advantage. That's the deficiencies, but this isn't being corrected. And if you see your quarterback is struggling in a lot of these areas, do what you can to make him comfortable. That point blank.
That's all I'm saying, Sheridan. Like, do what Milroe does best and pick your pots. Like, I hate to say this, I gotta give Tommy Rees a lot of credit. We went 11-2 last year, but one thing Tommy Rees did do, he ran the ball and he had Milroe throw whenever he picked his spots. He made good, easy, simple reads for him, and he looked like to me a more efficient quarterback last year than this year, especially coming off this Oklahoma game. So I'm not like, that's why I say Nick Sheridan, run the ball and take the RPO of the offense. You can get creative. Like, I just don't understand why we keep, if Saturday, if we come out and the first offensive possession, we line up in shotgun, I'm done. I'm sorry. Because I know what's going to come. It's going to come RPO.
this right
Quarterback
here.
run.
Why is Milroe sitting on the sidelines with no coach talking to him? Why is he not talking to the coach? Why is he not grabbing the iPad and looking through everything? Why is he not over there with his wide receivers and backs and going over things? Why is he sitting by himself listening to Adele songs in his earpieces?
And why is he not telling Sheridan, Coach, this RPO is not working. Let's call something else. Like, I don't understand why we just sit there and allow this to happen. And DeBoer is just like, But then you get mad at the ref. And I'm like, if you're going to get mad, might as well fire on him. Shove him or something. That's the most emotion I've seen you show all year. So DeBoer, this is coming under your watch. I'm just coming from a type A Coach Saban, where Coach Saban was so prepared for any and every situation. If it rained, if the wind, which referees are going to be calling the game. How do we handle if it rains, if it storms, if it earthquakes? What are we going to do if we're down by 21? What if we're going to do if we're up by 14? And he demanded greatness from his coordinators and his assistant coaches. And DeBoer, you've got to do that. I'm sorry. Talk to Coach Saban. He's got an office up there. You need to humble yourself and be like, you're the GOAT. I tried to do it my way. I need to learn from the GOAT and go win a championship. Turn this thing around. That's what I would do.
And before we get into the danger zone, the only thing that I think, and we talked about this, Matt, before you got in here today, the only thing I would want Alabama fans to remember, Bama almost had multiple losses last year.
Mm-hmm.
With a team that, outside of Ryan Williams, was better. You had 2 first-round cornerbacks. And we almost had multiple losses last season in the regular season. Now, you didn't. That's a credit to Saban. But some of this, Matt, you're 100% right. It's DeBoer. But then I also have questions in saying, well, Saban lost and didn't make the playoffs with the team that included Jahmyr Gibbs, Bryce Young, all those draft picks. Almost lost multiple last year, had a 4th and 31 to beat Auburn. Is it deeper than just that? That's the only thing that to me is kind of like a question I have that I don't know that can be answered. But I'll tell you what we can get answered. It's been great on the island, guys. I've enjoyed my cigar and for a little drink.
I hadn't seen Matt that fired up since he walked off those pigs.
Yeah, honestly.
I'm sorry. I can imagine losing, but the way we lost, like looking like pure crap, I was embarrassed. I was in Tennessee. I had people coming up to me saying, "Dang, y'all gonna use y'all quarterback for everything?" And I'm like, I know I'm sorry. It is just so embarrassing. How people just watching Alabama football and this is just embarrassing. I can imagine we showed up, played a good game. It was tough back and forth. Maybe, we look like an Alabama team, but to show up and look like pure blankety blank, 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 it was just an embarrassment for all the guys. You look at Bear Bryant, Nick Saban, those guys, like, why are you letting down the program? Where's your pride? Where's your grit, your toughness? Tied to your point, maybe NIL and transfer portal has something to do with that, but shoot, I look at Danny Lanning. He's got Oregon ready. Ryan Day's got Ohio State going. Like, it is what it is. So obviously,
is I don't know if it's any of those qualities. Is it something more internal that he inherited outside? Because everybody's dealing with those.
I don't know.
But is it something else? And I think that's a question we're going to have to ponder. But what we're not going to have to ponder is the fact that we're headed straight into the danger zone. But before we get to the danger zone, guys, unfortunately, we didn't get an opportunity to let them things hang this weekend. And you know what things I'm talking about. That's Title Towel. Daniel, tell us about Title Towel.
Look, unless you were under a rock right before our show, you were watching that playoff committee. And Alabama's right there on that periphery. So, guys, this season is not over. So, as you are headed to Titletown this weekend to watch Alabama take on, as our girl Cici calls them raggedy ass Auburn Tigers. Don't go empty handed. Go to whitwillsports.com today and get your title towel. Give them the promo code standard and get you a little discount, and take it with you to Bryant-Denny Stadium to let those booger eaters from Lee County know that the Tide is still the king of Alabama. Get that title towel today, whitwillsports.com. Take it to Bryant-Denny and wave it like you just don't care. One more time. Whitwill's in the chat as always. We love you, man. Hey, look, last week sucked, but this is the Iron Bowl. If you can't get your shit up for this one, get your title towel today. Take it to Bryant-Denny. Wave it.
That or call Lamstone, because you know they stay hard.
They stay hard all the time for Alabama, baby. Lamstone is all Tide.
Take us to the danger zone.
You know, I thought long and hard about what I want to talk about tonight. There's so many things that was just disappointing and disgusting. So I'm going to hit this in a systematic order that I think makes sense. And I'm going to start from the top. Kalen DeBoer, the fact that you only seem to show emotion when there's something that you cannot control is a problem for me. The fact that you have let your offensive and defensive coordinators go absolutely unchecked, continue making the same mistakes week in and week out is a problem for me. I also think that your non-aggressive attitude, your happy-go-lucky, just, it is what it is, has seeped into the team. The attitude of this team reflects leaderships, which brings me to the second person I'm going to hold responsible, and I'm going in on this one. I don't know when Alabama got it in their head that we need to pick out captains and put C's on their chest. Because when I see someone with the C on their chest, that means to me they know what Alabama football is. They know the damn standard. They know what not to do and how to not show their asses on the road. I didn't see that Saturday night. I saw an entire team give up early. I didn't see a single player fighting. Every single one of these captains has talked all year about wanting to hold a standard, about wanting to live up to what an Alabama football player is. We ain't seen it all season, and we definitely didn't see it Saturday night. I saw more heads looking at the freaking field than I've ever seen in an Alabama season before. The behavior from our wide receiver crew when they don't get the ball is just, it's like they're princesses, and when they don't get their way, they're just, well, I don't want to do anything. This is bullshit. I am so done with this participation trophy era of football. That's what all the 12-team playoff is a glorified participation trophy, because it used to be you didn't lose games to win a national championship. Now everyone's telling me, well, Alabama can lose 3 games. No, the fuck you can't. This is about being the best. It's Alabama. We do the best. We don't just do stuff to get along. If you don't have that energy, get the hell out. And the coaches have done absolutely nothing to put their players in a positive way to actually impact the game. You don't change anything. And the fact that we've said this before, they have 18 of these on the freaking sideline. So how they can't make adjustments is just mind-boggling to me. You have the technology to literally see what the other team is doing in game, and yet there are no changes made. Coaches aren't talking to players. Players are having, I don't even know what the hell they're talking about, but it's clearly not football. They don't have a brotherhood anymore. They definitely don't trust each other. And the fact that nobody seems to care, like how many passes were dropped? Did I see a quarterback? Did I see a wide receiver? Hell, I didn't even see a coach getting nobody's ass. They don't give a shit. So in an era where players don't give a shit, as we've seen the last couple of years, because let's face it, Saban almost lost a few, like we've said. It's not all the coaches. The players, and I'm going to hold Jalen Milroe, Malachi Moore, Tyler Booker, Deontay Lawson, and Tim Smith all personally freaking responsible. Because here's why. You spent at least 3 to 4 years under the best damn coach to ever freaking do it. And you have done nothing but tear his legacy in half with your putrid ass behavior and your piss poor attitude on the sideline when stuff's not going your way. This is absolutely the most embarrassing thing and a time to be an Alabama football fan, because we can yell all we want, but these kids just seem to not care. Now, this might not be the energy throughout the locker room, but I'm going to tell you what it is, the energy of these upperclassmen, these cancerous upperclassmen, the 5 C's. And I'm done with it. And what needs to happen is a factory freaking reset. These kids, and they're not kids, they're men. This is why I'm addressing them as a man, because as a man, you don't let somebody just beat your ass continually, because that's what happened Saturday night. We bent over and straight took an ass whooping with nobody saying, hey, I don't want to do that. And the fact that everyone says, well, you know, it's not on Jalen Milroe. Guys, and this is, I hope this pisses every single one of you Jalen Milroe lovers off. He is the damn captain of the team. That's what the quarterback is. If his head isn't in it, which I got news for you, it never has been. Look at the kid on the sideline. When have you ever seen an Alabama quarterback not like this with an offensive coach talking about what they're doing next series? Now, if he's just not, mentally there, that's fine. You still should be able to win a national championship off his skills on what he has as a football player. The fact that these guys, Nick Sheridan gets paid millions of dollars and he can't win a football game against a 5-5 team when they know what he can do, well, guess what? You know what their defense is going to do. The fact that you just took a beating means more than anything, and that's what pisses everybody off. We could have lost, and we would have been mad, but it's how you lost. You didn't even scratch pay dirt. Now, regardless of if that touchdown got taken off, you still didn't score. You still didn't positively move the football. The main fact is that these players don't give a shit. I am done hearing these coaches defend them. They need to get in their ass. Football was not built for soft-ass men. Football is a hard sport. You have to have balls. You got to have the want to. You have to be a killer. You can't just want to get your picture taken and look pretty in them damn football pads. You got to put in the damn work. You got to actually reach down between your legs and figure out, is this something I want to do? Or is this just something I'm just going to sit here and look pretty in crimson? Because that's, the thing to do. It's not the thing to do. If you come to Tuscaloosa to play freaking football, you're going to play freaking football. I am done with these guys posting Facebook posts about cologne and shit after you just showed your ass on national TV. It's cool. And then in the interviews, everyone is just like, oh, well, we got to try harder. It's not about trying harder. It's too late in the season. Y'all are done. I'm done with it. We need a factory reset. We need a new OC. We need a new DC. We need somebody to coach inside linebackers. We need a new defensive line. And our next offensive coordinator has to understand, this is the University of Alabama. We run the damn football with our running backs. Running backs, not a quarterback. And to everybody's point that says Jalen Milroe is a running quarterback, no, he's not. Because a running quarterback can, make people miss and get up the field. This dude runs more east to west than I've ever seen before, and I can't understand why. He can't get vertical. He can't see holes unless they're directly right in front of him. And it's just I'm done with it, man, for real. This team has embarrassed I thought the Vanderbilt loss was the apex of losing. And then we went to Norman, and I don't know what the hell that was. But I think DeBoer needs to seriously have a conversation with his wide receiver coach and some of the other coaches in there, because I think that the OC calling it from now on needs to maybe go to Robert Gillespie or Coach Shepard because Nick Sheridan doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And as far as the defense, I don't know. It's been bad all season. You have the GOAT. You have the greatest defensive mind in football in the building, and you don't use that resource. To me, that's stupid. To me, that's your first and biggest mistake. Like, you don't use the countless resources you have at your fingertips. That's not a good coaching.
Cooking. And can I add to this, LaShawn? That was great job, sir. Great job. Another thing that really concerned me, and I know I can only imagine how hot you think we're hot. Just imagine how old Nick Saban and Miss Terry feel watching this game Saturday night. I can only imagine how, excuse my language, pissed off Coach Saban was watching this Oklahoma-Alabama game. But what really irked me was, it's a hostile environment on the road. But the players looked like they were too concerned about external factors. It being cold. And I think they let too many
It wasn't even that cold.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not far from there. I was outside.
They were already acting like it was really, really cold. They had all this like mental adversity, poor beans. And I'm like, why are we coming out so they showed them coming out the warm-ups. I was like, where's the juice? It is not one lick of juice. Like, and then you got Milroe giving a speech and nobody's like going for it. I'm like, where is the juice? Like, I just don't understand, man. I've never seen a team look that unprepared, that just lack of mental focus, and that mental toughness. That's something Coach Saban always preaches about. You're going to have adversity. You got to be locked in. Don't let the weather affect. Don't let the crowd affect. Go out there and do your job. And to see them go out there, just receivers can't catch balls. We're not blocking. We're missing block. I'm like, not to LaShawn's point, not one coach. I can only imagine the first quarter, how many headsets Coach Saban would have broke with that poor performance in that first half, that first quarter. Receivers dropping balls, all that stuff. OC calling. Coach Saban would have got chewed. He would have gotten the headset and just laid into Lane Kiffin, Jim McElwain, Steve Sarkisian. And this is another thing. Since I'm speaking of Sarkisian, DeBoer, Texas beat Oklahoma 34-3. Steve Sarkisian is probably one of the top offensive minds. You mean to tell me you looked at Texas's film and said, yeah, I'm not going to run those plays or anything similar to that. I'm going to call my own plays. I'm going to call the RPO. Like, that makes no sense. You have all these cheat sheets. Teams are giving you answers to the test, how to beat these teams, and yet you're like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to call this BS of a play calling. Like, that makes no sense to me. Am I the only one thinking this? Or is
No, there were no threat to throw the damn ball at all. How do you not stop a one-dimensional team that is not even trying to – they're not even trying to go deep to stretch the field at all.
That's why I'm like, DeBoer, what are we doing to prepare? Like, Coach Saban had his coaches up there at like 5:30 in the morning, meeting, film breakdown. Belichick, I knows when he was a head coach, his coordinators had to break down, offensive coordinators had to break down the defense on paper and have it to them by the last 3 games on paper, have all the tendencies, what they run. They had to break it down meticulously. And Saban comes from that. And obviously, we are not prepared for none of that, in my opinion. Which just frustrates me to the living. I just don't understand what we're doing. Obviously, I'm in the wrong profession. I'm sorry. I don't need to be out here being pharmaceutical sales. I need to be coaching.
Well, we've yet to, man, let's be real. We've yet to see the offense that even had in Washington. Is Milroe the best option, and can he not run it? Is that the problem? And then it can Sheridan and DeBoer they don't have the ability to adapt to that. I don't
know. Ty made a great point. Go, LaShawn.
My question is, it's like, okay, there's clearly a good example in the NFL on a guy that really is not efficient at passing, but he's still one of the top quarterbacks in the league. I'm not comparing him at all, these two at all, but they have similar disabilities per se. So, like I said before, the fact that somehow Nick Sheridan, through a whole entire summer, fall, and now a season, has not figured out how to make an electrifying athlete successful is an absolute failure. Because I'm going to guarantee you, if you give a quarterback like Jalen Milroe to other offensive coordinators, they're lighting up the scoreboard at least 40. You imagine if Sark had that guy? Like, this just goes to even more embarrassing points. Like, and the fact that they put Sheridan up for coach of the assistant coach of the year, get bent. Like, have you not watched an Alabama football game? Oh, Milroe, QB to the left, and Milroe to his left, and he's going to upchuck it to Ryan Williams once or twice a game. Like, it's the easiest script in the world, and everybody knows it. I don't understand, like, how DeBoer's just sitting there like, hey, you know, Nick, are we're gonna do something different? Nope, I'm gonna do that. Okay, that's what we're doing. Like, I don't understand that.
I'm
like,
like,
like you're looking like a deer in the headlights.
Every time they show him on the sideline, he's like, I'm like
he looks confused.
Chew him out. Like, what are we doing?
Hell, he looks confused on the field.
We just had 3 drops and not nobody getting on the players. Like, not even players.
Like, not even a coach.
Players. You know, if I drop passes, I had guys like Pro Throw, DJ Hall, not even talking about D'Amico Ryan, Freddie Rhodes. Like, tighten up, Cadell. Let's go. Like, okay. And another thing is, if we would have put a performance like that under Saban, I would not even – we would be so scared to go to the film room on Monday because Coach Saban would be laying into everybody. And obviously DeBoer is not even doing that. He's like, all right, guys, let's go on to the next week. We got the Iron Bowl. Like, I would be so
all those pansy asses will transfer if you yell at them and hurt their feelings.
I would be so
Then
scared.
get them out of there because they're obviously soft.
Folks, y'all have done a fantastic job presenting your passion. Absolutely love all of it. But we need to get to the Iron Bowl. We still got the greatest rivalry game in college football to be played, and we hadn't touched on it. And folks, we need to know what's going to happen. But my gosh, I didn't want to stop that. I really didn't. I could have gone another hour of listening to it.
Oh, that much time went off? Dang, my bad.
Yeah, well, we got the crowd's here. They obviously want to hear what we're talking about because the crowd's steadily sticking with us, and we want to say thank you for that. Everybody that is going on with us, we know you're pissed off. We're all pissed off. It ain't what we want to see, but man, we do appreciate your time being here. Like our boy Ty always says so much more eloquently. But if you're over on Twitter, the X, come over to YouTube, the Bama Standard, hit that like and subscribe, man. Even in the bad times, the Standard's here for you, trying to figure this shit out.
All right, Ty, take us to the Iron Bowl, sir.
Well, and then unfortunately, guys, after I give my take, I am going to have to hop off. I have the in-laws over, so I gotta. I can smell
It's an
dinner's
excuse
ready.
to stay in here.
Listen, right. Have you ever had a chancla thrown at your head? All right.
We know what you gotta go do.
You ever had a chancla thrown at your head? They are deadly accurate. Okay.
You work for this.
Okay. Listen, I'd rather not have a concussion going into next weekend. But talking about Auburn, guys, is Auburn a threat? Yeah, Auburn's a threat. This is a rivalry game. I don't care what their record is. I don't care how much their head coach loves those massage parlors. I don't care how much he makes incredibly stupid decisions. They're a threat. Here's the thing. How can Alabama go against this Auburn team? I'm really excited to see their wide receivers against Alabama's defensive backs. They've got some really talented wide receivers over there. And I'm excited to see that matchup against some of the defensive backs Alabama has, how they've grown. That's going to be a great matchup. But if y'all don't think that they're going to employ a similar strategy that Vandy did, that Oklahoma did, and utilize Peyton Thorne on the ground with Hunter, they're absolutely going to do that. So that, to me, how do you stop that? And people in the chat are asking about Womack and about Sheridan. I can only speak to Sheridan, but when it comes to Nick Sheridan, y'all, we have to remember that was not supposed to be the offensive coordinator. He had an offensive coordinator. The guy was recruiting for him, and then one day it was like, hey, I got the Seattle Seahawks job. Now he's with Seattle. It was so late into the process when he made that announcement. I mean, spring practice was literally a hop, skip, and a jump away. He had to make a quick move. He had to get somebody that was familiar with kind of the principles he wanted to do. I don't think Sheridan was – I know Sheridan wasn't the first option as OC, because if he was the first option of OC, Ryan Grubb would have never been the offensive coordinator. He was supposed to be the tight ends coach. This is a guy that does not have a ton of experience calling plays, and I think it is absolutely showing. So I think there is a possibility you could have a different offensive coordinator next year. And I think you could even be in a situation where DeBoer starts calling the plays, because we've seen sometimes this year he steps up and boom, all of a sudden you have it. In terms of Auburn, for Alabama's offense, just look alive. Like, that's all I'm asking. Just look alive. They have got to do something. They have got to do something to help out this Alabama defense, because Alabama's defense, you got to figure out how to stop the options that Auburn is going to implement. The one thing that I think we do have some solace in, gentlemen, is the fact that Alabama has played great at home. Alabama has played great at home. And Sissy, that never happened. So there's that as well. Social media is full of different disinformation, and that is absolutely one of them. That absolutely never happened. If you know anything about Bama's coaches aren't chewing out their own players when you have a slide tackle attempt on an interception. They're not going to say that. That was disinformation. That's why we are where we are in society, because disinformation is everywhere and people eat it up. But, guys, I have to go. I have to hop off.
Well,
Y'all
Ty,
have been awesome. And, Petty, I'm going to have to watch your mailbag.
we'll see. No Diddy. We'll see if it can bring it this week. Well, man, we will finish this thing out for you, Ty.
All right, y'all. Pleasure as always, and roll tide.
Roll Tide. Hey, Ty, happy Thanksgiving. You and your family have a good one, brother.
All right, y'all. Later.
All right, man.
Roll
Matt.
time.
We'll just roll on, man. The show's got to keep going. Is Auburn a threat?
Heck yeah. What you mean? It's the Iron Bowl. Listen, Auburn will look like crap all year, but come to Iron Bowl, they're going to be looking like the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm just calling it what it is. And listen, these guys are humming. You seeing they running their mouths. They're talking cash.
Oh, man, what's the defense miss? Is never going to lose to Alabama, right?
Yeah, I mean, they have a right to. You know, it is what it is. They just beat Texas A&M. I think they've been preparing for Alabama the past 2 weeks. I think Hugh Freeze is going to run Vanderbilt's offense. Durkin's going to run Vanderbilt's defense all game. And they're going to see if Alabama has made the adjustments. And Hugh Freeze, credit you give him 2 weeks to prepare. It's going to be a challenge. So Hugh Freeze versus Kane Womack. Listen, Kane Womack needs to be dialed in. Like, he needs to be breaking down film about Hugh Freeze's offenses for the past 3 or 4 years. You know, I was going to make a parlor joke, but I'm going to leave it at there.
Well, I feel like we should set up some massage parlors outside the stadium, and he might not make it into Bryant-Denny.
Please do. But yeah, I mean, this is going to be a threat. Auburn's coming in. They just beat Texas A&M at the house overtime. You know, I'm just saying, Hugh Freeze is going to have his guys prepared. He's going to have wrinkles on offense. He's going to do what he likes to run the ball. I mean, Hunter can go. Cam Coleman's starting to come on. Thorne is starting to come on. So they got 2 other receivers too, number 11 and I believe number 5. So it's going to be a challenge.
Coleman's the real deal, man.
Yeah,
That kid
we got to come with it. So I just hope these guys are locked in, prepared, because Auburn's a real threat.
All right, Lushan. Look, one of the problems that plagued Auburn this year is their numbers actually look good, but they kept losing games because Peyton Thorne kept turning the ball over. The last 3 or 4 games, he hasn't turned the ball over. And our boy A.J. McCarron was on a show earlier this week kind of doing the Pepsi challenge with numbers, and he threw out 2 sets of numbers and asked who the quarterbacks were. One of them was Peyton Thorne and one of them was Jalen Milroe, and the numbers were starkly close. I'm going to ask 2 questions. Is Auburn a threat? And if Milroe shows the same tendencies he showed last week, should they bench him for a while? Give Ty a chance? Or what's your thoughts on that?
You know, I will never go on record giving any kudos, compliments, or say anything positive about that pathetic Cal University. But I will say the Iron Bowl in itself is a very dangerous game. By the way, screw Auburn. The Iron Bowl is a dangerous game, and you never know what's going to happen. You know, that team, it's that team's Super Bowl. It's the only game they give a shit about every year. It's the only game that matters to them. So, yeah, it's a very dangerous game. And to your second question.
Well, and before people jump on me for asking that, Sishi, one of our other panelists, had a video go viral saying they should have benched his ass, and that's why this question comes up. And that's before I let you answer that, but I wanted to give a little preface.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree and say no, because if he can't freaking come up with plays for Jalen Milroe, what the hell in anybody's head makes him think that he's gonna be successful with Todd? People with that narrative just need to go ahead and just be like, if Ty was that dude, Ty would be playing. He's not. So there's clearly a very big flaw because Kalen DeBoer knows something about quarterbacks. And obviously he feels that Jalen Milroe gives him his best chance to win. Now, is he going to play up to his ability every game? That's not for Kalen DeBoer to decide. That he has no power over that. All he can do is put his team in the best position that he thinks to win. And I don't think putting Ty Simpson in the game is doing that.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Plus,
at this point, you got what Brian says. I mean, at this point in the season, Milroe's your guy. You got to ride with him. You should have done this.
You can't change up an entire offense.
You should have done this 5 games ago if you were going to do it. Don't do it now. Now, I agree.
Can I say this?
Yeah.
Nick Sheridan's not going to change up the offense if Ty's in there. He's going to run the same play.
Right.
Because it's not going to matter because the only thing he knows is RPO, Williams, shot. That's it. Like, it's the exact same plays. I'm sorry. It's Nick Sheridan. He has really made me so mad this year. It just makes me so mad.
I'm good with doing it. You saw Sark do it with Ewers this year and put Manning in. I don't have a problem doing it 5th, 6th game of the year when the quarterback's going through a lull to try to get his attention. But now you're to the last game of the year hoping to sneak into the playoffs. This is your guy. It's like you said, Lou, you just kind of ride with him at this point, right?
Yeah, but and I don't understand, what makes everybody think that Ty Simpson's ready to take the ball? Because he did some good work in mop-up time? I mean, we can't remember what this guy's done in the past, dropping the ball in the goal line. You know, he's made some rash plays, so I mean, you can't just say just because Jalen Milroe is not performing high that we just need to put Ty in. It's not the answer. We have quarterbacks on the team, yeah, but I don't think putting Ty Simpson was going to be the answer because if you don't have a competent OC, you can put freaking John Elway back there and it ain't going to matter.
Man, that's ironic. We were talking about Elway on the last show. Good stuff. Matt, any more to add to that? Should we be worried?
I was just talking about Lushan hit it on the head. We don't have a competent OC. Then if he can't play call to Jalen's strengths, what make you think he's gonna play call to Ty Simpson's strengths? Obviously, he has no clue about that. So
again, at this
and
point, it's too late.
We definitely don't want Nick Sheridan, putting his hands on any future Alabama quarterbacks. I don't want his hands on any of our receivers that are coming in, our running backs that are coming in. I don't want his hands on any more Alabama players because he has demonstrated that he does nothing but drive the train straight off the tracks into a freaking wall.
If Nick Sheridan was an airplane pilot, they're still circling in the air because he don't know how to touch down.
Ooh. And I think, look, man, that's it. That's it. I mean, look, I think we've made it pretty clear. If you're not worried about Auburn, you haven't been paying attention, especially after the damn egg that we laid out in Norman last week. But it also goes without saying, the more talented team is on the Crimson side. And if they can wake their ass up, come in focused, come in with drive, this is a game that they absolutely should and could, all that good stuff, win. We brought enough thunder. Huh? Do it.
You can't say that, Petty. We went into a 5-5 Norman, and I hate to say it, this year you can't just say Alabama is going to be Alabama because I'm not even sure half these players know they played for Alabama.
I've seen enough Crimson in my life to know that it can rise when it needs to. Does the O-line, one more question before we get to a more lighthearted segment of the show, does the O-line need shuffling? Because shit, let's be real, Milroe, he started watching the rush. I feel like that. You started seeing it in his eyes. He was scared of the rush. I mean, so there was problems on the line. Does there's need to be shuffling this late in the game, or is that a ride or die?
At this point in the season, you know, like I don't like what are you honestly gonna do? Like everybody knows our tackles are heavy assed, and all you got to do is bend a little bit, and they're gonna give way.
Matt,
so I mean, at this point,
I just don't understand what we're doing as a coaching staff. I mean, I don't know how you watch film and grade guys and be like, man, I'm going to put you back out there, guys. Like, that makes no sense to me.
Like Elijah Pritchett getting like just beat like a freaking revolving door the whole game,
every game,
the whole first half. And I'm like, and you put him back out there. I'm like,
what are we doing?
Same thing with Latham. Like these dudes are getting beat and they're still out there.
Do we not grade guys? Like, do we not chew them out in film? Like, I'm used to getting my you-know-what handed to it. No matter how many catches I had, no matter how great of a game I had, you always had something to get chewed out on each play. And so it's like, I'm like, what are we doing? There's no need to change them now. You're going to play them anyway. You're going to give them a pat on the back anyway, to lose Sean's point. So what are we doing as a staff? That's what I want to know. Like, it just makes no sense to me.
I don't think you ride with this. I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't put Pritchett back out there. Do something different. Shit.
What are you going to do?
Honestly, it's simple. The only thing that needs to be changed is Pritchett put in Formby.
Formby did worse.
I like Miles.
But Formby, that was only his second game starting in his career. He's a young guy. If anything, give him the reps. Give him the live reps to get him to prepare him for next year, because Pritchett's not going to be here, thank God. But if anything, change that, because you can't rely on him. He's a liability. If we're going to have any shot in this game, take him out, because Jaden Roberts may or may not be going the whole game, and he's pretty much been the fail-safe that's kept Pritchett's mess-ups at a minimum. But when Jaden's not been in there, it's when Pritchett has played his worst.
I say go Miles
pretty bad. I say honestly that I mean, yeah, you should probably change it, but they ain't demonstrated that they want to change any damn thing that's been going wrong. So I don't have any faith in it. So like making adjustments in Alabama this year, hell no, that ain't gonna happen.
Sean, they're like, oh, a pipe just busted in the house. I'm not gonna do anything about it. Oh, the kitchen stove's on fire. La la la.
It's like nothing affects these guys. Oh, we just got beat by Vandy, a team that hasn't beat us since like the 50s. Like,
get off the merry-go-round, please. I don't know.
Like, I'm gonna need our coaches to like go buy a bottle of scotch and smoke some freaking cigars and develop a nutsack, because this freaking happy-go-lucky attitude is bullshit.
Damn, come on, make that three. I agree, man. You guys, I tell you, man, I forget because Matt's such a laid back personality in our group chat. That Bama pride starts coming out, and someone said it, man. Several of the players have echoed what you're saying, Matt. So I mean, this is the most interesting week. Is Auburn a threat? Yeah, because nobody knows what the hell we're going to get out of this Alabama team after last Saturday. What do we get? Do we get a team that shows any nuts like Lou just said? I don't know, man. I don't know. But we brought enough thunder. You guys got any more y'all want to add to that, or if y'all just don't every punch?
No.
Well, look, we fired in brimstone long enough tonight. Let's get to a little more of a lighthearted segment. That's the segment when the fans write their questions into me, and I answer them for you in the best way that I know how, with sarcasm and ignorance. Boy, this was a rough week for college football, and the questions followed kind of correctly. I said we talked fire brimstone. The first question might just fire up the Bama fans right back. Number one, what is your theory on why SEC refs suck donkey balls? Well, I'll be honest. As a gambling man, I used to deal with the twinkly like Vegas desert conspiracy theories that they had refs paid off. If you bet on enough games, you see enough flags get called that make you go, that really influenced nothing other than the final spread. However, after Saturday night's game in Norman, where we had a phantom flag thrown before anything happened with no explanation that took a touchdown off the board that had no effect on the spread, I've come to a different theory. These guys are just sucky idiots and nobody wants to do this shit. Like, I don't remember going to career day in high school and somebody saying, you know what I want to do? I want to be a ref. That's it. I don't remember the valedictorian giving a final speech at high school and saying, yep, I'm headed off to ref school. No, these are the hot dog eating dumbasses that don't do anything else that get a job on Friday night. And if they're good enough to do it on Friday night, I guess some asshole in the SEC office hires them to do it on Saturday because it just means more. No, it doesn't. Hire some people that know what the hell they're doing. This is atrocious. And it's not just that call. It's like 2 or 3 games every weekend that the SEC refs just totally F up. Look at South Carolina right now. They may actually be in the playoffs if SEC refs weren't ass clowns. Well, that's it. I just don't think anybody wants to do it. I never have met someone in my life that said, you know what, I want to be a ref. So I think that's the problem. It's just a profession nobody wants. We need to entice people. Question number 2, Petty. Was that the worst Saturday you've ever experienced? Well, I tell you, I found out that my first cat died on a Saturday. That kind of sucked. I got kicked by a donkey one Saturday. That was pretty shitty. A few broken ribs from that one. 4th grade summer, it was a Saturday when Beth Ellen was the first person to inform me how large my forehead was. That was a pretty shitty day and a revelation. But no, I drove to Gainesville Saturday morning to watch Ole Miss do what Ole Miss does and shit the bed. And I'm driving home, getting over the fact that may be the worst loss in Ole Miss history. And I just witnessed it live. But I'm like, that's all right. You know, we'll get home. Bama's going to do what they do and take care of business. And then I learned that this is a whole new era. And now they Ole Miss too and just shit all over themselves. So, yeah, that was it, man. That Saturday sucked. It was 2 teams losing their chance at going to the playoffs, which I think Bama still does have a chance. But that's right on up there as the worst Saturday of football I've ever fucking experienced. Yes. Sorry. You were in college. Okay, now we're getting to the lighthearted stuff. I said it was going to be lighthearted. We haven't been real lighthearted. You were in college for close to a decade, Van Wilder style, but not near as funny, pretty, or rich. What was your best experiences from the Iron Bowl? Well, I'm going to give 2. My favorite game, which wasn't in my decade-long college stint at the university, was probably when McElroy hit Roy Upchurch for the touchdown in Jordan-Hare, because I feel like that was the night that you kind of knew 2 boats were passing in the night, and Nick Saban was about to take this thing to an epic level, and Bama went on a run that, you know, nobody's seen in the histories of college football. That was my favorite Iron Bowl football moment, I think. My favorite Iron Bowl memory was from my time in college. I'm going to take you guys down story lane. I think it was 2001, the year of our Lord, was the Ice Bowl, where it got like negative 10 degrees on campus, and the worst, ugliest game in the history of Bryant-Denny. Auburn won 9-0 in a 3 field goal slugfest. Well, what people may not remember about that time is if you lived on campus at Alabama, Alagasco's sorry asses went up 40% on their rates, meaning that if you were a college student choosing between beer and 99-cent double cheeseburgers from Hardee's that you ate at 3 a.m. playing NCAA football, you couldn't afford your heat. Well, we of course chose the beer in college football and the cheeseburgers. So they turned our heat off in what was probably the coldest damn time of the year. And I remember having tickets to the game. It was sleeting, but I woke up at 5 that morning because the plug-in heaters weren't doing near enough to combat the cold that had taken over my house. And I decided, shit, I got to make something happen. So I trudged out into the wilderness of campus at Alabama, which is just full of wooded stacks all over the place, which is not the case. And like that moment where Clark Griswold finds the Christmas tree with his family, I'm walking through the campus at the capstone, and there's just a damn tree laying down in the woods. I'm like, hell yeah, here we go. So I dragged this full tree back into my house on campus, and I'm like, fellas, we got this. Heat is obtainable. And I shoved it into our fireplace and lit one end of it. So this whole tree is across our living room floor, and one end of it's on fire. What my dumbass didn't realize is I didn't open the flue. So within moments, our entire house is a smoke screen, and I have to open the door, which completely negates the heat from the tree that I found on campus, to which we then watched the Iron Bowl in 10-degree weather inside a house on a big screen and watched Alabama lose 9-0. That wasn't a really good moment, but it's one that I'll always live with and remember from my times in college of 10 years. So trudging out to the wilderness in 0-degree weather in that stupid ass ice bowl and burning a tree across my living room floor, which we still haven't gotten our deposit back from that house. Roll Tide. That was a long story. Sorry. I just felt like I needed to share my story of the tree.
I love it, Patty. I'm ready to get to these. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, come on, Matt. You played.
Oh shoot, we never beat Auburn when I was there. So
that story was better in my head.
Somerville was like he was like doing the.
Were you part of the whole thumb? Did you not?
But I will say Auburn. That is allowed. I don't know what voodoo Auburn Jordan Hare has, but it is some. When it comes to the Iron Bowl, that is some type of voodoo. I've seen Brody Croyle get sacked 6 times. I've seen.
Well, that wasn't voodoo. That was your.
I've been when I got redshirted. I was at the game watching it, and I saw Cadillac first play go like 80-some yards. I was like, okay, it's insane. But it's just an intense rivalry. My favorite memory is when McElroy and all those guys they won back in was it 2008 maybe, I don't know. They finally beat Glenn Coffey and them, John Parker. They finally beat Auburn. But then to go back to that one, that Roy Upchurch play was just huge.
Upchurch was play, man.
That play was just unreal. So I mean, I just want us to beat Auburn. That's what I'm excited about. So hopefully we can put it together one more last time in Bryant-Denny, and
let's do it.
Let's do it.
Real quick, Lou, I told my crazy long story. Matt gave his before we give the fans, tell them where to find us, tell about the rest of the shows for the week. Man, any what Iron Bowl memory sticks out to you, brother?
I don't really have good memories of the Iron Bowl, to be honest with you.
Wow.
It is a very, very dark time in my life every year.
It's a stressful
game. Honest, it is. Even if Bama comes out on top, I'm obviously highly invested in it. Honestly, the Iron Bowl is just not a good Saturday, regardless of if we win, because I hate this team with that much passion. I hope that they just like absolutely suck.
If you win, you were supposed to. If you lose, it's just why? How the hell?
Yeah.
I get it. Well, guys, man, been a hell of a show. Matt fired up. Lou bringing fire and brimstone in the danger zone. Guys, it's Iron Bowl week, though. I hope the team gets the same passion that you guys were bringing tonight, because if they do, we will kick Auburn's ass. I hope they feel it from. I mean, we heard Bobby Humphrey and Bo Scarborough on the show before. You know, the passion, Matt, that you guys have, man. It comes from a time where the Iron Bowl just meant a little different. I hope we see that this Saturday, because if so, we're going to be in for a good day. With that said, man, it's been a great show, always with the Avengers. Hit that like and subscribe. If you're on Twitter, X, come over to YouTube, the Bama Standard. Hit that like and subscribe. Follow us so you can get all the alerts on the shows coming up this week. With that said, Matt, how can we follow you, find you?
Trying to hijack Nick Sheridan's playbook and locking him in the closet somewhere. So if you see me, if you see Alabama scoring like 40 points and running the ball Saturday, just know it might be me calling the plays. I might have hit Nick Sheridan in one of the hotels somewhere. But no, listen, you'll find me pulling for Alabama. I'm going to ride for the Tide. But, you know, I just have so much passion. And I feel like me as a former player, I should not have more want to than the players and the coaches that are on the team right now. That makes no sense. Like, they should be having that same type of fire and desire. But Roll Tide forever. Hit me up. Find me on the Final Whistle with my brothers, Lushawn and Petty, every Tuesday night where we give it to you. So, pause. Lushawn, up to you.
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram, Lucian Graves. You can find me on X tonight fighting the Butt Kiss Award Committee because this is bullshit. But on Tuesdays, you can find me telling the truth about what everybody doesn't want to hear, because that's how I get down with the Avengers. Roll daggum Tide.
Roll daggum Tide. And look, I'm Daniel Petty. I'm your plug-in host at the end after Ty left. You can find me on Twitter, X at Petty_Daniel, or on Facebook at Daniel Petty. It's Pettey. You can find me all over this network. Monday nights with my man Smoke Dixon, 7 o'clock, the opening kick. Tuesday nights, the best hour of the week with the Avengers here at 8 Central on the Final Whistle. And then on Thursdays, man, we got a basketball show we're watching right now. Bama's in a damn heated one. Sears is trying to, Sears just hit a 3 with 53 seconds to go to cut it to 1. 77-76, Houston's up 1. But we will be coming at you, not this Thursday, obviously, because of Thanksgiving, going hard in the paint with JT, Herb, and myself talking Bama basketball. And then as soon as the Iron Bowl finishes, we will be here on the Bama Standard for the Bama Standard postgame show. Don't want to miss it. And then on Sunday, Sunday Night Talking Bama with JT, JM, Stephen Smith, and the gang at 7:30 Central. Guys, I didn't even mention tomorrow. We got Sishi, the Crimson Dynasty, at 6:30 Central. Sishi, if you didn't catch her, she was slinging some heat after the game. I'm sure she'll still be fired up tomorrow. Catch her tomorrow at 6:30 on her show. And then Teague's Take, 8:15 Central. George Teague breaking down the game, telling you everything you need to know and what Bama needs to do to beat Auburn. Yeah, got a full lineup of shows here at the Bama Standard. Hit that like and subscribe so you never miss one. They come to you at all times. With that said, man, hell of a show. It's Iron Bowl week. If you can't get up for this shit, you're in the wrong damn university, because Alabama ain't nothing but beating Auburn's ass. So let's do it. Get up. Let's go. We'll see you rest of the week. Guys, let's finish on those only 2 words you can this week. Roll for Tide.
Roll Tide. Beat Auburn.
Beat them.